friends, welcome back to CDIT Infotech Private Limited. Myself is Vinod. Today we are going to learn to create a web form in Visual Studio 2012. We will use ASP.NET to design, C# language to program, and the MS SQL Server 2012 as backend. In the last session, we have created database and table in MS SQL Server 2012. So we will use the same database and table here. Let us start. First of all, open the SQL Server to see that what is the database and table we had created in the last session. Connect here. Database. Choose the database we had created. We had created the Institute DB. Extend this one. This is the table name, students. See the fields we had created in the session. There are 6 fields. First one is registration number. This is varchar type. Password is also varchar type. Name, address, mobile and email. We have chosen the database of all the fields as varchar. Now, we have to create a web form. To create a web form, start Visual Studio 2012. So, I have the icon on the taskbar. We can also open the Visual Studio by pressing the window button and typing Visual Studio 2012. Here you can see that Visual Studio 2012. Just click on this. This is the first screen you see when you start Visual Studio 2012. So, we have to create a web form. First of all, click on File, go to the option New, and then choose your website. Be careful. We have to choose Visual C#, not the Visual Basic, because we are choosing the C# as the language in our project, in our form. And here you have to choose ASP.NET empty website. Now, decide here where you want to store your project. So, open your File Explorer and decide a drive where you want to store your project. Create a folder in the root directory of any drive. I am creating in the root directory of G drive. Now, you browse here the folder I created right now. We have created the folder in G drive and the name of our folder is students, student web. So here is the students web. Choose this one, click on open. Now see, here we have chosen Visual C# and here ASP.NET empty website and the folder we have created right now. Here our project will be stored. We have to keep all the files and folders related to this website inside this folder, students web. Click on OK. Click here, just click on OK. Wait for some moment. Yes, you can see here students web is created here, and inside this folder you can see a file web.config. This file gets created automatically. Now we have to create a web form. So just right click on students web, click on add new item. Again, be careful. You have to choose your Visual C#. Here is web form and the name of file is default.aspx. See, this is the first file we required in our website. Either we can have the index.html or the default.aspx. If you don't have this file default.aspx, your website will display error. So we have to have this file default.aspx in our project or index.html. So right now we are creating default.aspx. Click on add button and click on add. Now see, this is default.aspx file. It looks like HTML file. You can see as we create in HTML tag, so we have started HTML tag and close with HTML /HTML, and then head, title, body, inside body, form and div are there. So how we will create the form? Just click inside div section, and there are three sections: design, split and source. Right now you are seeing here the source, so we will go on design option. Now this is design page. It is very easy to create the web form using design section. So here you can see an option table on the menu bar. Inside the source section there is no option like table. You will have to create table by writing the HTML code. So right now we are not writing the code. We are creating our table through design section. So go on in design section, click on table, click on insert table. Here you have to decide the number of rows required. We have 6 fields and one row required for the button and another one row for the message. So here we are taking 8 rows and keep the columns 2. Align it at center, and now here see there are 2 options in pixels, in percent. When you keep your table in percent, it means the size of the table will be decided on the basis of the size of the screen. But right now we are choosing in pixel, means we are fixing the size of the table, width of the table. So take here 500 is 500 pixels because we have chosen pixels. Click on OK button. You do not need to make any changes anywhere, so directly click on OK. Here you can see that a table is created. If you want to see the HTML code of this table, you can click on source and you can see here the code automatically created. Now go on design section, write down the name of the fields. The first field name is registration number. Here you can write the word in any form. We do not need to follow the rules of taking the field's name as we had considered here. Here we have not given any space in any field name, but here you can write in any form because this is not related with the field name. Registration number, password, name and address, mobile, email. Now we have to enter in all the fields. So to enter the data, we required text box. You will find the text box inside this standard tool. Here you can see that text box is there. It's just double click on this option. The text box will be created. Now go here and choose another text box to enter password. Similarly, keep creating the text box in each row to take the values, to take the data. And one button is required. So button option is there. You just double click on this, the button will be created. Now to display the message that our data is submitted successfully or not, or there is any error. So to display this message, we will take label. Now, as we know that address may require one line or maybe more than one line. So generally, we have the address in not just one line. Generally, we take address in multiple lines. So to enter the address, go on the properties window, and here you will find that the text mode option is there. In the text mode option, you choose multi-line, and even you can decide the number of rows required to enter that address. So we are taking 4 a number of rows. Now this is the time to specify an unique name to each text box. One more time, just see that the code created inside source. Here you can see that text box is created. Text box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We required 6 data to enter, so we have 6 text box. Now click on the first text box, and its ID is right now text box 1. You just change the ID of this text box to identify this text box, because if you have text box 1, it will be tough to find out that this text box will contain the registration number or the password. We have few fields, so here it is easy to find out that which text box is containing which field. But suppose you have 20 fields, 25 fields, 40 fields, then in that case it will be very tough to understand that which text box is taking what kind of data or which data. So specify a meaningful name, meaningful ID. So the property of this text box is here. Here you can see that text box 1, whatever we have seen here, text box 1. So text box 1 is there. Now this is text box. So it is good habit to start the name with small txt and then write reg number. Now this time you be careful. We cannot have the space or a symbol, or you cannot start this ID with digit. So you have the name like this, txt reg number. To distinguish the words, we have kept the first letter of each word in capital letter, so it will be easy to read. We have made it readable. txt reg number. Similarly, you assign the ID to all the text box. So click on the next text box right here. txt password. Similarly, keep providing the ID to all the text box. Txt name, this is txt address, txt mobile, txt email. Now it is time to assign the ID to button. So you have the name like this, btn submit, because we want to submit the data. And one more change is required here. You type here the word you want to have on the button. In this case, we want to have submit. So when you write here submit, it will be displayed here. And assign an ID to the label 2. Start the name with LBL, small LBL, then Mrs. Because we have this label to display the message. But when you run this form, the label will be displayed automatically on the screen. So when we require this label, when we submit the data, after the submission of the data, the data got submitted successfully or not, this message should be displayed in this. So it required when we click on the submit button. So what to do is just delete the text written inside the text box. Now it will look like this. Now again see the source created. This is our source file. Table. This is first row tr. Inside tr there are two td, means two columns, registration number and this text box. You can see here the id, txt reg number. We have the text box with the id txt reg number, txt password, txt name, txt address, txt mobile, txt email. And similarly, see the ID of the button btn submit and the ID of the label LBL message. Now again go to the option design. Now this is the time to write the C# code to submit the data into the table we have created in the SQL Server 2012. So where to write the code? The name of this file is default.aspx. Now we have to execute the commands when we click on the submit button. So you just double click on the submit button. A file will be opened. The name of this file is default.aspx.cs. These are the codes of C#. Now what we require? We have to make the connection of this form with SQL Server. So to do this, we require a feature. That feature is explained inside this header file. Add a header file using system.data.sql client. It will provide you the facility to make the connection string. Right here, a connection string. So to make the connection string, we require a predefined class SQL connection. The text will be displayed automatically. You can just press the space bar. It will be typed. Create an object for this class. Suppose we are assigning the name as C, equal to, initialize it with the word new SQL connection, and inside this bracket write an inverted commas, and inside this inverted comma we require 4 parameters. The first one is data source equal to server name. Actually it holds the server name. And what is our server name? In this case you'll find here your server name. click on this, and this is the server name. So you just copy it and paste it. But when you upload your form online, in that case, the IP address will be required here. In the case of online, we use IP address. So right now we are doing offline. So we have the data source name like this. This is our server name. And then the second parameter, initial catalog. Here we will have to write the name of the table. What is the name of the table? Sorry, name of the database. Here we required name of the database. What is the name of our database? Institute DB. So write down here Institute DB. And then the third parameter, user ID. User ID. What is our user ID? Here you just check it. This is user ID. This login ID is user ID. SA, that is system administrator. We are doing the work offline, so in this case we are having the user ID as SA, but in the case of online we will have to write the user ID of the database. And the password. I have the password in this case like ABC123 $. So writing here ABC123 $. Now we have created a connection string, and the name of our connection string is C. Why we have written this command here? It will provide you the facility to connect our form with the SQL Server. So let's open the connection. Name of the connection is c.open. And then in the last session we have learned that we need to write the query to enter the record. This is our query window. Here we have written like this: insert into name of the table, students, values, and then the values here. So we have written like this. So this is an SQL command. We will write same SQL command here. So to do this, we'll take another predefined class name, that is SQL command. Create an object. We have taken the name of the object as CMD. Initialize it, new SQL command, and then write down the command here. What we had written in SQL Server. And then place a comma and write the name of the connection string. The name of the connection is C. Close. And inside this bracket we have to supply the data. But where we have the data? Inside the text box. Where we have the data? Inside the text box. Here will be our data. So we have to submit the values stored in these text boxes. So in the case of varchar, again we will have to use single quote here as we had used in SQL Server. What we see here, we have the same data type varchar for all the fields. So in our case, we will use the single quote in all the field name for all the text boxes. So right here, single quote, and then to pick the data from table, we use double quote and plus. And then right here, the name of the ID of the first text box, txt registration number this is the id dot text, and then close it with plus and inverted comma symbol. And because this is varchar type, so we have started with it with single quote, so we'll place here single quote, we'll use here single quote. Similarly, we pass the values for all the field, single quote double quote plus txt password dot text, then close plus inverted comma single quote, then again single quote inverted comma plus txt address dot text plus double quote single quote comma, then again single quote double quote plus txt mobile dot text plus double quote single quote comma single quote double quote plus txt email. We forgot to use one more text box, single quote double quote plus txt name dot text. So right here, and then go and press the enter button. When you press the enter button, the text, all the text will be as you have explained it. So to auto decorate it, you delete 2-3 characters and again repeat the same, comma, name of the connection string C, bracket close, and then comma, semicolon. Now you can see that your text are automatically arranged, automatically beautified. Press enter button. We have written the SQL statement. Now it is time to execute it. When we execute this SQL command, our data will get stored in the table created in SQL Server 2012. So how to execute the command? Write down the object name of the object of the SQL command, cmd dot execute non-query. Now after the execution of this statement, our data stored in the text box will get stored in the table created inside our database. Now display message to the user that your data is successfully submitted. So to display the message, we have used the label lbl message. So write down lbl message dot text equal to, write down your message, record submitted successfully, close the inverted comma, plus semicolon here, and now close the connection. It is very important to close the connection every time to protect your data. Now click on save button. This button is for save all, and this is for single file. When you click on this, the changes made in the files, and all the files will get saved. Now you have already written the commands. Now it is time to check that whether our form is working or not. So it is time to run it. Here you can see that the Google Chrome name is displayed. You can click here, you can see that all the browsers names are there. So right now we want to use the Google Chrome, so we have chosen Google Chrome here, and now see, again click on this Google Chrome. First time you will get this message that modify the web.config file to enable debugging. So it will make some modification in web.config, because if you don't save it, because if you don't allow it to modify, next time you cannot debug it. So just keep it as it is and click on OK. Chrome browser is starting. You can see the name of our file, default.aspx. Just wait for a few moments. Now our form displayed here. Now enter the values. Suppose the registration number of our first student is S001 and the password, suppose we are having the password name as ABC. We have not set the property of the text box of password as password. If you set this text box as password, then in that case the text or the character written inside this text box will not be displayed. So right now we have not set, that's why we can see its visibility is on. It is visible. Now write down the name. Suppose the name is Amit Kumar. Write down address B49 Shalimar Bagh, Delhi. Write down mobile number 987-098-7654 and the email address amit@gmail.com. Now click on submit. Yes, our record got submitted successfully. You can see the message here, record submitted successfully. Now it is time to check in the SQL Server that actually our data got submitted here, actually our data got stored here. To check it, first of all, start the database by using the command use name of the database institute DB, and then write down select star from students. Click on execute. Both the commands written here will get executed. Execute. Yes, you can see here, but there is some error in the case of email. You can see that we had written amit@gmail.com, but there is something wrong. Now let us check the code. Stop it and then go in the sysap file. See, if you have missed here .text. Now check once again with one more record. S002. Suppose password is ABCD. Name Ravi Ranjan. Address AG 691 Ashok Vihar, Delhi, and the mobile number, email ravi@gmail.com. Click on submit. Yes, our data submitted. Let us check here that everything is correct or not. Just click on execute. We have already written the commands, so just click on execute. Here, right. This time you can see that all the data are correct. A002 ABCD Ravi Ranjan. This is the address, mobile number, and this. So we have created the form and submitted the data, and our data got stored in the table created in the SQL Server 2012. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you will create the form by yourself. Thank you. Please subscribe this channel, like this video, and click on bell icon to get our latest video. In the next chapter, we will learn to display the list or the records in grid view. Thank you for watching this video. Please say us about this video by writing your comment. Thank you.